Here, you're ready for your dose of reality.
Hey, what's up, everybody? That's right, it's just me today. I'm the important one, Mr. Mayhem, and welcome to the start of the new prediction season for Heart and Soul Promotion and the Dr. Quack podcast. We're starting with a real stinker here, Wrestlemania Backlash. But of course, I'm not doing this alone. We've got our panel of experts here. He's the professor, and he's last year's prediction winner, so please welcome him to the show, Randy Hogan.
Representing the Dr. Quack, baby.
Oh, yeah, I represent Hogan Order, and he's representing the podcast. We're all covered here. That's awesome. And we're bringing him on. He did a great job here last year. He's my boss. He's your boss. His new tagline is "Buy my merch." Ed Lindsay.
That's right. Buy my merch.
All righty. We're waiting on Brandon Seger to get here. I'll be here in just a couple of moments. So in the meantime, we've got someone else to introduce. He's done this with us before, but now he wants us to join us for the whole season. Welcome to the show, John Strack. Welcome, everybody.
It's going to be a fun one.
So is there a lot of apathy here in this viewing, or are we actually excited about WrestleMania Backlash?
I'll be honest. I'm excited to see maybe only one match out of the whole show. So,
all righty,
maybe two. We'll see.
All righty. So, while we wait on Brandon Seger here, Dr. Quack has provided me his predictions as well as the Purge, Justin Smith, who will be giving his predictions, and I'll read those off when we get to those matches, and we'll catch up with Brandon Seger when he finishes, but. We're going to start with the first match that we had on the list. Now, I'm going by what we know of as per Wikipedia and the WWE.com website that says what matches currently we know about. Obviously, this is filming before SmackDown, so we don't know what SmackDown may add. And the show this week or this time is on Sunday instead of Saturday. They had been putting them on Saturdays. This one has gone back to Sunday. I don't know if that's to capitalize on the Mother's Day and for something to do after you take mom to lunch, or they're switching them all back to Sundays. I don't know, but this one is on Sunday, so make sure you make a note of that. So let's start with the first match, Bobby Lashley versus Omos with MVP, and we start always with the Professor Randy Hogan.
Well, I'm going to go with a repeat here. I don't think that Omos is ready to go over in any kind of a thing yet, other than a couple of the jobbers he's working with. So Omos is going down, I'm afraid. And, of course, Lashley is just going to dominate him because he needs a domination if he's going to get back in the running again. So
I agree. There you go. Mr. Lindsay.
Now that the monster has a mouthpiece, I believe that they're going to actually use him more dominantly. So I'm going to go with Omos.
Okay. All right, John.
I'm gonna have to agree with that. I think now that you add MVP into the mix with Omos, just based off of what have we seen recently, you're seeing Lashley so far have the upper hand. Normally, when it comes to WWE pay-per-views, usually that means it's going to go the exact opposite way when it comes to the pay-per-view. So I'm going to have to go Omos.
All righty. And Dr. Quack also goes with Omos. And Purge goes with he goes with Bobby Lashley. So I'm going with Almost, but with for a little bit different reason. I think this one, Bobby Lashley is going to dominate, and MVP is going to cause the screw job ending because I think they want Almost to work with Bobby Lashley a little bit more from the standpoint of Bobby Lashley works like a big man. Almost is a big man, and he needs to learn how to work like a big man. So I think they're going to extend this a little bit longer, and they're going to put Almost over, but I think it's going to be a DQ win. All right, and Janessa goes with Bobby Lashley. So the next match we have here, starting with you, Mr. Lindsay, Happy Corbin versus Madcap Moss.
Well, I really don't see Happy Corbin actually being a winner. And they are working up Madcap Moss as much as they can. So I believe Madcap Moss is going to take this win.
All righty. What do you think there, John?
I'm going to have to agree. I think now that they pushed Madcap off of as a tag team with Happy Corbin, I think it's going to be Madcap.
All right. Let's find out here what Dr. Quack said. Dr. Quack, he has predicted. Sorry, I'm looking these up through what they sent me on messages. He's taking Baron Corbin. Dr. Quack does. And Purge took Madcap by DQ. And I'm taking a straight-up win with Madcap Moss on this one. He actually has been kind of going away from the goofy. He hasn't been doing the jokes. He hasn't been doing a lot of the laughing. He's doing more of the traditional, trying to get himself over as a babyface, as a dominant babyface. So I think they're going to continue with that until he proves he can't handle it. So I'm taking Madcap Moss. Mr. Hogan.
I totally agree. Madcap is getting the push right now, and Corbin has seen his day a couple of years ago. So,
yeah.
So that's I think the way it's going to go.
All righty. So, John, we're going to start with you on this one. I think this one's going to be kind of the surprise match here. AJ Styles versus Edge with Damian Priest barred from ringside.
I'm going to have to go AJ Styles by disqualification.
All right.
And this is going to be my surprise of the pay-per-view. I feel like the next member of the Judgment Day will appear and will cost Edge the match by attacking AJ.
All righty. So I'm looking here, and all right. So Dr. Quack and Purge both went with AJ Styles. I'm going very similar to what the Purge said. I'm picking AJ Styles. Yes, you're right. It's going to be somebody, and John, you said that too. We're going to see the reveal of another person. There was some talk. It may be Ciampa, but I guess he's doing some stuff with.
If we're going to do it one more time, I just need to give you some medication beforehand. That's why I'm checking.
No issues.
It takes a little bit to do it, so I just want to prepare.
Okay.
So how are you feeling?
You can wrap.
All right. I'll put you on mute for a second here. Let you handle your private business there, Mr. Lindsay. But I agree that it's going to be a reveal. I don't think it's going to be Ciampa, but it's going to be somebody kind of unexpected, somebody who needs something. I'm almost thinking it might be T-Bar or Dominik Dijakovic being the next member of Judgment Day, but I'm taking AJ Styles by DQ. Mr. Hogan.
I don't know how, but I'm going with AJ too. AJ needs this win. I'm still not convinced on the whole Edge coming back, his return being any kind of a long-term thing. I mean, he's old, he's ugly, he's got surrounded by one of my favorites, if not my favorite, which is Damian Priest. That whole thing is okay, but AJ needs this win, and I think they're going to give it to him.
All righty. And Mr. Lindsay, are you available?
I am going to go against all y'all because I am going with Edge. And it is going to be due to outside interference. But when the lights is out, no one knows what happens.
I was thinking that, but then they're not going to want to bury AJ. They're going to want to make this feud mean something. That's part of why.
Yeah, but that's how it's going to lead into Survivor Series because AJ is going to get beat, and then that's when his former Bullet Club brother decides to start helping him, and they keep finding members to help along the way.
All right, John.
I can actually see that, and the fun part is, when you get to say Survivor Series, it would be just imagine the shock and awe if Finn Balor actually turns on AJ and joins Judgment Day.
That's very, very interesting.
I could actually honestly see that happening even at this next pay-per-view where he acts like he got the trust, but really they started that too late. I would rather, if they're going to do that, hold it till SummerSlam at least. If you're going to turn Finn against AJ.
All righty. And Janessa's going with us here. She's going with the majority and going with AJ Styles on this one. So the next match, we've got Drew McIntyre and RK Bro in a 6-man against the Bloodline. And we're going to start with Quack, and Quack's going with the Bloodline here. Excuse me. Quack went with the Bloodline. And Purge went with Drew McIntyre pinning Jimmy or Jey Uso. So he's going with the other team. He's going with Drew. All right. And I'm also going pretty much the same thing that the Purge said, Justin Smith said, that they've already put the seed in there that Drew McIntyre is the next opponent for Roman Reigns. So it's going to go with the old Ric Flair style of booking with a slight difference. Instead of pinning the champ on this one, he's going to pin one of them, and he can still say, well, I hold a victory over Roman Reigns, something nobody else has done in 600 plus days. Drew McIntyre. Mr. Hogan.
I'm going with Drew and RKO also. I think the Bloodline, they're finally coming to the realization that they're going to have to do something with the three of them as far as breaking them up or some kind of dissension or something along that line. So the good guys are going to win. The bad guys are going to have a little dissension going on there, which will still keep Drew and Roman going for the future. RK Bro, they were going to break them up a long time ago, but they're so popular, they're just over so much, and probably selling a lot of merchandise. They don't want to break them up now. So that dissension's got to come from the other side, I think. So anyways, I'm going with Drew and RKO.
All right. Mr. Lindsay.
I'm going to go with RK Broken Dreams.
Okay.
See how I threw it all together. RK Broken Dreams.
There you go.
And it's due to the fact that, yes, everybody knows that Drew is going to be next in line to face off against the Tribal Queef. And like Hogan said, RK Bro is so over. Like, the people love Roman, but the Usos are Ed, and everybody loves RK Bro. So that team has to get the win just so it can continue the storyline with Drew coming after the title.
All right. And Janessa agrees with you, Mr. Hogan. So, John, what's your thoughts?
Hey, Randy.
Yo, brother.
I am going to have to go with Mr. Hogan on this one. But I will say this. I do like your point of, like, the reverse effect where he's not pinning the champion. But what makes it better to say he has the edge over the champion than pinning the actual champion. I'm calling 2 RKOs and a Claymore to Roman to end it.
All right. The only reason I was thinking that is Vince likes to do things a little bit different. That's an NWA staple. And Vince go, well, I didn't create that. We're going to do it different. So that's why I said he won't pin the champ, which is the way Ric Flair used to get all of his opponents over, lose in a tag team match, and then have the singles run and have the nice long program with that. Again, that was created by Sam Muchnick. That wasn't created by Vince McMahon, so I don't think Vince would do it. That's the only reason I went that.
And honestly, we also know why RK Bro sells so much merchandise. Has anyone seen their new T-shirts?
No?
They're awesome.
All righty. Well, we got 2 matches left, but we also have some sponsors here that pay us some money, so we're going to give them some love. We'll be back in just a second.
FTW Premier Promo League. The Promo Performance Alliance. Wrestling Geeks and Pariahs. The Voice of Honor. And Heart and Soul Promotions presents a showcase for everyone. The Champion Showcase, coming in June 2022.
We want to say thank you to our longtime sponsors, Crystal Infinity. They've taken care of us from the beginning, and we got nothing but love for Crystal Infinity. And as Ed Lindsay says, and we'll say it even for Mr. Hogan, buy our merch. You can either buy it at Heart and Soul Promotion or at redbubble.com/Heart and Soul Fed. There you can get a shirt like Mr. Hogan has, the Dr. Quack Podcast, the official Boss phone cover. We got T-shirts. We've got, I'm getting to you as well. We've got T-shirts, we've got blankets, we've got pillows, we got coffee cups, or you can buy, John also is known as the villain, so you might as well get you a villain mouse pad when you want to say something evil. Or when you go to Randy Hogan Stuff on Facebook, you can get a shirt and become a member of the Hogan World Order. All right, so we've got 2 matches left to go over, and these are going to be the ones everybody wants talking about and one everybody wishes they didn't have to talk about. The first one everybody is talking about, the rematch, Cody Rhodes taking on Seth freaking Rollins. And we have the Purge took Seth Rollins, and Dr. Quack went with Cody Rhodes. So we've got a split there. All right. I'm going with, and let me get this, make sure I get this tagged. All right. So I'm going with, since Cody Rhodes won the first one, they want to keep this going. This is kind of a hot little, they didn't realize kind of what they had. This got a lot hotter, I think, than what they expected. So to keep this going to the final rubber match, they've got to have Seth Rollins win. I'm taking Seth Rollins. If for nothing else, Vince sees dollar signs the longer this keeps going. Mr. Hogan.
I'm going with Cody. They've got, in their mind, momentum going with him, a lot of money invested in him. I've said before, I have very little confidence in any talent that they turn into comedy relief. Okay. They took Seth back when he was a champion, whether it was a babyface or a heel, didn't matter. He was very sincere. And then he turned him into this cackling, gimmicky, whatever. Every time they do that, they're gone. So I think what they're trying to do now is turn Seth back into a baby face little by little. He's going to start losing the laugh, maybe in some of the crazy clothes, and be in contention, but that's going to be a slow build from what they did turn him down. So anyways, one way or another, I'm going with Cody.
All right. Mr. Lindsay.
There's more than one royal family in professional wrestling. So I'm going to go with Cody. And it's because to keep this feud going, Seth needs to lose so Seth can go insane. Therefore, you will get the match that everybody wants to see at SummerSlam of Seth versus Cody, where Seth will be unhinged. That blonde streak might even show back up in his head.
All right. John, what you think? We've got Janessa going with Seth Rollins.
I'm gonna have to go with Cody Rhodes, and I'm gonna agree with Ed on this one. It is to the point where Seth has to go insane. Seth can still lose this match and still push this thing further. I do not see it going past SummerSlam. SummerSlam will be that point where, as Randy was talking about, they're going to push Seth going either back as a babyface and where he first began, or he could still be the heel, but we're talking authority Seth Rollins.
All righty. And we forgot one person here. So since she said buy Boss's merch, also Mary Sue is back there. So if you're checking out Redbubble, make sure you check out Mary Sue's gear as well and get you some Mary Sue gear as well. All right. So we're coming up on the final match here, which I get to start off. Yay. Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey in an I Quit match. And I don't know why they extended this out. The prevailing consensus was that Ronda Rousey was going to win at Mania. I don't know what the reason was. They changed directions a little bit. If it was meant to be a swerve, if it was meant to get to this match to see if maybe Ronda has learned something. She hasn't. But they're still going to have Ronda Rousey around. So I see her being a transitional champion, getting the title off Charlotte so that Charlotte can win it back, or somebody else can win it and Charlotte can beat them at SummerSlam. I don't know who that person is, but Ronda Rousey's going to at least have one more title run, even if for only a week. Ronda Rousey. Mr. Hogan.
I'm going with Ronda too. Plain and simple, I can't see the baddest bitch on the planet, Ronda Rousey, losing in an I Quit match. She ain't going to quit. So realistically, even though we know this stuff's not always real or realistically, there's no way that they could let Ronda lose a match like this.
Look what they've done to Shayna Baszler. Look how often she can't figure out how to kick out of a side guard. So, but I see what you're saying. Mr. Lindsay.
We all know how I feel about Charlotte.
Yes, we all say it together. He hates Charlotte Flair.
Oh, I thought he loved Charlotte.
So Ronda will win, but it doesn't end the show with that. Ronda wins, and then her next opponent will reveal herself. Ding dong, hello.
I don't know if Bailey's knee is ready yet, but so I guess you're going with Ronda.
Yes.
Bailey's been cleared, by the way.
She's coming back awful fast. It hasn't been a year since she busted up her knee, but it's okay. John, what you got?
I'll start off by saying this. If Ronda loses, the mystique of Ronda Rousey will be gone just like it was in the UFC. I don't think the WWE wants that. So it's going to be Ronda. Now, the only way I could see this turning into Charlotte winning is if anyone ever remembers Rock versus Mankind in the I Quit match.
I quit.
That's the only way I could see that, where they pull out the cell phone and use the cell phone.
All right, and I looked these up. Purge is going with Charlotte Flair, and his reason is that Ronda just isn't cutting it. And Quack's going with Ronda Rousey. The consensus is they brought her back, paid her all this money. They might as well get something out of their investments. And now, since there was only 6 matches. Oh, you had something, John?
One more thing about Ronda Rousey. They need to give her a mouthpiece. I understand Paul Heyman's with the bloodline, but if they could pull him away just for her, it would work wonders, because I don't know who is worse on promos, Charlotte or her.
At least Charlotte gets the right crowd reaction with what she says. So I will say Charlotte's better. So now it's prediction time. Since we only had 6 matches, it's bonus point. Something that's going to happen on this show, it could even be the pre-show, something you think is going to happen. If you choose a match, you get 1 point. If you choose the match, both people, and 1 other point if you guess correctly. If you're taking just an event, you only get the 1 point for the event. Mr. Hogan, you get to start.
I am predicting that KO is going to interfere and kind of turn on Seth. A little bit, because they're trying to turn Seth into a babyface little by little. Him and KO are buddies, but KO is a little bit jealous because Seth's getting all these shots. KO hasn't got none. So I think he's going to get pissed off at Seth. I think he's going to maybe turn on him. And maybe we'll set up something between him, because I believe that Seth and Cody is just about run its course too.
All righty.
So my prediction, KO interference.
All right. Mr. Lindsay.
I am predicting that we will not see the United States title on the show.
That's probably a pretty safe bet.
How often have we seen the United States Championship on a pay-per-view? In the last year and a half. That's not a bold prediction.
It was on Mania. It was on Mania.
No, it wasn't.
Ed's going after a cheap point. That's what he's doing.
So what you got? You going with the same cheap point? John, you going with the same cheap point?
Oh, no. I'm going with, I like the KO part, KO being part of the show, but I'm going to say KO versus Ezekiel, with Ezekiel winning.
Okay. All righty. And Dr. Quack went with his usual standard. The 24/7 title will not be defended on the show. That was his usual one he usually goes with. Purge had a little bit different one. He predicted there will be a boring chant somewhere in this show.
Oh my God. Speaking of a safe bet.
That's why I was like, that's a pretty safe bet. I'm going with, because they revealed it on Monday, I'm going to say that Mustafa Ali and Ciampa will be somewhere on this show, with Ciampa going over.
That was probably my second idea of what I was going to go with. It was because there's two feuds that's going on right now that haven't been put in the card yet. Technically 3. Because the other, like, okay, let's look at it. You have right now, what is it? Sonya Deville versus
Who cares?
Bianca Belair. But then, okay, you add Zelina, Clean Zelina, and Carmella to that, so you could technically have a 6-woman tag, and then add the women tag champs into it on Bianca's side. So you know that hasn't been hyped up as much. You had Ezekiel versus Kevin Owens, which has been going for like the last 3 weeks. Surprised that's not even a match on the card yet. Then the last 2 weeks they've been pushing Ciampa and Ali, with somehow don't forget we have the Miz is going to end up also probably on the card. Then you also have what is it? What's his face that showed up and destroyed the Mysterios after a week?
Oh, Veer, whatever his name is.
Yeah, Veer. So there are storylines that they have not added to any of the to the card yet. That are they trying to hold it to the next pay-per-view, or are they waiting to? Okay, we're gonna have quick match. Like, I would not be surprised. Like, if I had a second guess, do not be surprised if it's Veer versus a local talent again.
Oh no, they won't do that on the pay-per-view.
I do want to ask this, since we're going into that of Mr. Hogan. You've been around. You were in WCW for many years. The IFC lady that took over the writing for WWE actually seems like she's been doing a good job as far as slowing down the progression, not hot-shotting so many things. Do you agree, having worked in a company that was known for hot-shotting?
Yes, I believe she is slowing things down. I think she might have slowed it down a little too much, though.
And that's true.
Like right now, this whole pay-per-view coming up Sunday seems like it's just filler. It's just, okay, we got to have something this month, so let's throw this crap together, okay? The next thing they're looking at is going to be SummerSlam, and somehow they should be building through this, leading into and towards SummerSlam, and she should be, I don't know how much pull she has as far as with the other writers or whatever, but there should be a little more intensity, more stronger things developing. There's all kinds of weak stuff out there, okay? Veer, for instance, what's his purpose? Where are they looking at 6 months, 8 months down the line for him? Right now, all he's doing is in there with jobbers. He's not face-to-face, and Mysterios to me are jobbers. He's not face-to-face with anybody. They're not building up any kind of a feud whatsoever with him. Finn Balor, again, to me, people love Finn, but to me, he's going to be in the next group of cuts. They pushed him. He's had everything from a Universal title to U.S. title. He's jobbed out. He's been on top. He's just another little guy that does high-flying stuff. Again, there's nothing out there. And you're not going to be able to make a major feud pay-per-view worthy with the guys like Balor and even Ali, unless they do something really with him or bring back a solid cruiserweight type group. I would hate to see WWE turn into an AEW where 3/4 of the staff is less than 200 pounds. So that just, I think things are slowed down. I think they need to catapult some of these guys into major storylines to build upon for future pay-per-views. Otherwise, if you got another one like this Backlash, another weak one, it's going to lose all credibility. And that just opens the door more for the AEWs of the world to step in.
So, you You guys have Ed, let's go with Ed, and then we'll come to you, John, and then we'll go with final thoughts.
Okay, so looking at it, in my eyes, I actually do see a storyline that's going to be built, and it's going to happen after the loss for Seth to Cody. Because in order for enlightenment, and you're getting ready for Judgment Day, your visions have to be seen. So you add the visionary with Edge and Damian Priest, which will leave the two former leaders of Bullet Club to look at another former member of Bullet Club to help even out the odds, which will give you AJ, Finn, and Cody working together against Priest, Seth, and Edge, which would be a storyline that would be perfectly built, just looking at the history and everything that's going on.
That actually would be a pretty interesting match. So John, you got any thoughts about the writings?
So I do agree with everything Randy said, is that I believe they did slow it down a little too much. I will say this, though. You call that they're calling this pay-per-view WrestleMania Backlash for the second year in a row. Let's look at the card real quick. How many matches are actually coming off of WrestleMania that were actually a part of WrestleMania at all?
All of them.
3, 4. 4 of 6.
Which ones are they?
Lashley Omos, AJ Edge, Cody Seth Rollins, and Charlotte Ronda Rousey.
Okay. To me, if you're going to call it WrestleMania Backlash, you have to have the flair of WrestleMania behind it, because you have the name of WrestleMania into it. And it's like, unless it's one of the major 5 pay-per-views, it feels like WWE doesn't really care. And I will actually disagree with Randy on one thing. Finn Balor. The fans love Finn Balor. WWE just does not want to push him. And it's going to be one of those things that if anybody hasn't seen in the rumor mill, and I'm going to even talk down to at the NXT level, Roderick Strong has pretty much requested his release. You're going to start seeing all these fan favorites that are going to start waltzing their like the AEWs of the world are going to sit there and start bringing in the fan favorites. Yeah, AEW could sit here and put off a show of high flyers, flipping, flopping, do whatever in the ring. The only thing that WWE does better than them is they can at least kind of tell a story of it. And I feel like WWE needs to start actually trusting in what the fans want rather than trying to say, hey, no, you want this. Like, finally, the fans are actually warming up to Roman, and it took him to go mega heel to do it.
All righty. So I guess with that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I want to say thank you to everybody. We'll be on Monday here. John and Ed, are you going to join us for the review?
Oh, yeah, I'll be here.
All right. We know Randy Hogan. He's got his neck.
You never know, brother.
He's got fans to take care of, so we know he doesn't take the time to check out the pay-per-views, although he does comment and tell us when he's catching all the other comments on Facebook. So keep sending those results out on Facebook so Randy Hogan gets to watch the show for free. With that being said, I'm the important one, Mr. Mayhem. Mr. Hogan, thank you as always, sir. Ed, thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Always know the villains rule.
And with
Yeah, right.
and that, we'll see you on
Buy
Monday.
my merch.